design as a word is as I've said, very imprecise. And the word strategy probably isn't much better. It certainly is the way in which design relates to a business context, with the idea of an innovative output being part of that process. And the roots of that sort of approach, design education, was to me quite revolutionary. And the idea being that the world had become such a complex place that the idea of the wildly gifted, creative person could dream up almost any response or innovation, regardless of complexity. And of course this is patently impossible really now, I think. So the idea of a collaborative, user-centred approach about innovations that people or society needed is pretty much at the hub of that strategy. You know, the plan to deliver an innovative outcome. Strategic design is, I think, a cover-all for what has been a revolutionary change from form giving, the designer as form giver or artisan, to designers who are collaborative individuals within a broader economic framework. And I mean, there's all sorts of shades of those possibilities, so I think it's a broad term for a lot of different things, and it's a catch-all phrase for a lot of different methods. So the idea of design also emerging as an academic discipline or an interdiscipline or a transdiscipline is mixed up with that term as well. So there's almost a magpie approach to the methodology that strategic design embraces from all sorts of disciplines. And briefly, it's the using of the design-led skills within a business framework for a profitable outcome. Profit being, as wide a definition as you like to.
Strategic design is a practice or use of, future sort of driven, design methodologies. Well, they're not specifically just design methodologies, they're sometimes borrowed from other disciplines. But basically, yeah, future orientated methodologies in general, that will basically create some competitive advantage for the context.
For me, strategic design is about looking to the future with a degree of critical and constructive insight. I mean, it is about planning for the future, but it's not simply planning, doing a plan, but looking to the past, looking at the trends that exist and the current state, and saying, based on that, I mean, really the model that Sustainable Futures use, and I guess I'm more closely aligned to that because they take such a long view of the future and such a broad view of society, in that sense of, which fits with my model of social history, social history in its most broad sense. That's how I tend to look at the future. I mean, it is intimately tied to business. It is about strategic planning in short, medium and long term. But planning's one thing, and we both talked early on about futures using scenario planning, and both agreed that in fact in design we don't scenario plan. That's about that sort of long strategic view for an organisation. We scenario build. We actually build plausible futures, and once we've argued they're convincing plausible futures, then we actually intervene and set about designing things to meet present and anticipated future needs or desires.